This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
All right, one take, no fun talks. Griffs are down 2-0 in the series. Lost both games at home. No fun cold opens tonight. We're just jumping right back into our Game 2 recap. If you're new here, welcome back, or welcome to, I should say, the Hockeytown West podcast. Your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye Hockey. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
And Nick at least sounds better today. We got his mic upgraded. Travis's is on the way as well. We've heard the feedback. We know it is a work in progress. It just takes a little longer to get things, and things technology wise cost a little more these days for some reason. Couldn't figure out why. But anyways, moving on, let's talk about this game here, right? You go down 2-0 in the series when the series starts at home, when you didn't have home ice advantage in the series, but you were kind of blessed with being able to start at home, and you lose 4-2 in game 2. You lose 4-0 in game 1. And here we are. We're heading to Texas, where every game in this best of 5 is a must win.
Everything's bigger in Texas, So, I mean, the games just are going to be tougher. They're going to be bigger. I thought tonight was a do or die. It was a game 7, honestly. Like, they had to have this game. I think you had to show for the last 6 days that you've been working on stuff. You've been improving. You've been able to put a game plan together, and we had almost the same result, same style of play.
I wouldn't say it was the same style of play. There were things I did like about this game, but there was a lot I didn't like as well. After the Griffins did finally find the back of the net once, it seemed like they remembered how to play hockey at least and started kind of playing their game. And they were able to get, within 2, and it felt like there was some life there. But overall, Coach Watson said in the postgame that he liked the start tonight, and I didn't like the start at all, if I'm being honest with you. I thought they started just how they started game 1. They were hemmed into their own end for about the first 45 seconds right off the bat, and we're down in the shot count for a good amount of time there too.
Yeah, those first 5 minutes of the game, we were just getting hemmed in, and I'm just like, well, this was a fun season. It's hard to explain. Why do we continue to see the same style of play, the same? I'm going to be negative. You've balanced me out here, but this isn't working. What we saw a few weeks ago against Texas in that first period, where they slowed them down, they played physical, they were gritty, they made Texas play their game. It was closer. It was so much closer. As soon as you try to let Texas use their speed, you're not catching up. You're not going to be able to stop them. And even when we were kind of cheating towards the end of the game and going for offense, it was oh shoot, here it goes, coming down the other way, a couple times off the break from Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to throw the first goal of the game on screen for the YouTube viewers here to be able to see at least. But, we talked about this all game 1. Just poor neutral zone play. Griffins come out of the neutral zone. They can't make the play. It gets turned over. And Texas is able to walk in here and end up scoring. And this is a goal, I think, at the end of the day, I think Jack Campbell probably wants back. But at the same time, poor neutral zone play, another turnover, leads to a goal. And this is 4 minutes into the game that this happens. Like we said, Dan said he liked the start. Granted, yes, this is 4-on-4 after whatever chaos happened before that. And then you see, obviously, Dominic Shine kind of end up hitting a guy high in that play as well. It ends up resulting in a double minor for high sticking right after this goal, too, which the coaching staff appeared to be incensed about on the bench after that call. And I kind of agree with them. Not that I'm saying it's not a call. I just don't understand the timing of the call, as it seems to happen before the puck goes in. You think delayed penalty. I don't know. I don't know the rules when it comes to that. Coaches weren't happy about it. We weren't happy about it. And you go down 1-0 that early. It sucks, man. It just felt like, here we go again. Because it looked like, here we go again.
Well, yeah, too. And you come out with a brand new lineup of players, different lines, different players, different matchups, different goalie. That's
something we will talk about here in a minute, for sure.
Gonna, that sparks some debate. And you think 6 days off, we've had time to prep, we've had time to go, and there we are. Same struggle again.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking not even 5 minutes later into the game to throw the second goal up here. This one was just one where you hoped somebody picks up the puck here, but you notice Vero there kind of shoots it, tries to clear it, and just fails to do so entirely. He ends up shooting it at the sideboards instead of putting it in the corner, or flipping it up maybe over Texas at the blue line there to just clear it. You might ice it, but sure. But he takes it, throws it at that corner wall there, and it bounces right back into play. Griffins turn it over right behind the net, and there's a net front scramble that Jack can't get. He had it once, he had it twice, lost it there, and Texas capitalized again.
You know, the one thing that we've been seeing a lot is like turnovers right in front of the net. And so this time it was different because it was behind the net here. And so, like, that was a little bit different than what we've seen because usually, like, when they're starting to go up the ice, they drop that pass back and it's been turned over literally like the last 6-7 games. And I'm like, I'm so tired of watching this setup to try to build offense through that play. And tonight, like that goal, Texas wanted it. Texas wanted that puck more than we did. They go behind the net. They work the puck down low. They force the turnover, put it back in their net. Like, this is the style of hockey we've been asking to see. We have the bodies to do it. We have the team to do it. We have the skill to do it. Why can't we do this?
It's frustrating, man. You know, I'll throw the third goal of the game up just because we'll give everybody the highlights here. So the third goal up, and we'll give everybody highlights here. This is a power play goal, and on this one, I mean, I can't fault Jack on this goal. Honestly, this is one of those goals where you're like, Texas is a lethal team on the power play. They had great net front presence here. It ends up going in off a guy streaking into the slot there. It doesn't get picked up by anybody. He's able to sneak in there, tip that puck right past Jack, and all of a sudden we're down 3-0. And it felt like at this point, I think we all kind of looked at each other and said, this game's over, right?
Yeah. I mean, Texas's power play right now is 40%.
It's on fire. It's playing extremely well against us.
Our penalty kill is so bad. I don't understand because we were good in the regular season on the penalty kill. We take the least amount of penalties. It just seems like we're just giving
changed
up so much. And even in the regular season, we were third lowest in penalty minutes. We were disciplined. I don't feel like we've been playing disciplined hockey in the postseason.
But we're still one of the least penalized teams in the postseason. So, granted, we've only played 2 games, right? It feels like we've been talking about a 7-game series with this team because it's been going on for a full week, and there's only been 2 games. But at the same time, it's tough not to get in that mindset while we're talking about it. Like, we've watched so much of this; it's only been 2 games. But in a best of 5, you can't have bad games. That's what it forces you to do. It kind of makes you have the mentality of every game's kind of a game 7. You go down 1. You can only lose 2 more. You go down 2, you can only lose 1 more. Like, game 3 is game 7 now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only in our bracket too, is like Milwaukee's down 2-0 with Rockford.
Yeah, that series, we'll update that at the end, but that series is going crazy. I'm going to throw the 4th Texas goal on screen. Just a good breakout by them. Find a guy open. McKenzie makes a great play there, honestly. So I sit here again going 2 of the goals were ones you'd want back, and 2, it's like, kind of, what are you going to do here? I mean, McKenzie makes a great shot there, and there's not much Jack's going to be able to do about that. Curtis McKenzie is a fantastic player overall, too. So it doesn't help when you leave him open like that and able to get a pass clear up the ice. That's those stretch passes the Griffins keep trying to do, but that's not their play style, and you're definitely not going to get those off against Texas, so stop trying. Texas can execute them. We can't.
It's frustrating because that's one of the guys that you need to shut down, right? I mean, the big guns for Texas continue to shoot, continue to score. They continue to get past our D. Like, if you could stop these first 2 lines, we're looking pretty good. I was looking for Texas in lines the last post game, and they don't post them, but you can, like, we know by watching.
We do know by watching
who's their top lines.
At least in this game, the Griffins did end up giving us a little bit of hope. Was it false hope? Who knows? But it reminded us at least that they can score on Texas. Because mind you, Texas goes up 4-0 again in this. The Griffins lost game 1 4-0. And until 4 minutes left in the second period, the Griffins had yet to score a goal on Texas in this series. And Sheldon Dries does come through with a nice goal here. Again, a great play by Dominic Shine to get the assist. Michael brandsegg-nygard gets the secondary assist on that as well. But Shine, just a smart move. Poirier's down, shoots it at the pads, bounces out front, Dries is ready for the rebound, and he's able to pick it up and put it in the back of the net. Like, that's just smart play when your power play is kind of getting stifled. Shoot at the goalie's pads. He's down for a while. You see that pad open and angled out to the front, make that play, make the smart move. And Shine did that. So credit to him on that. It was nice to see Dries find the back of the net there too. And it was like, okay, at least it's a 3-goal game now. There's still a whole period left to go. There was some hope there, but it was just good to be reminded that these Griffins can score on the Texas Stars.
Yeah, because if we would have lost a third straight game 4-0 to Texas.
Oh, that's right, because the last time in the regular season was a shutout too.
Yeah. So that would have just probably, it was mentally, it's a morale killer. Mentally, it gets into your head, and that's what this team cannot have happen right now, is being in their heads.
Yeah.
They just got to go play hockey.
We're going to talk about those exact comments here in a second, but we will talk about the highlight of the night for Red Wings fans, at least. Michael brandsegg-nygard does get his first AHL goal. A great board battle here by Dominic Shine. Finds him out front there, and he's waiting, stick down, ready to go. And that's kind of everything you would hope to see from MBN in that point. But Shine gets a ton of credit here on this board battle and this pass.
Shine on this play was just freaking fantastic. Just battled. This is what we love Dominic Shine for. He's getting physical, taking his strength, getting the puck, putting it out in front of the net, and there he is, Nygard out there to be able to put it in. And he, to MBN's credit, all game, like he was letting it rip throughout the game, and I was like, okay, something's gonna he's gonna get his goal here tonight. I could feel it. He's getting more comfortable. He's playing better. I don't know if he's playing better, but he's playing more of the style of hockey that he's getting used to the system.
Well, because there's that North American style, as he said, post game.
That American style,
North American way, or American way, whatever he said. That cracked me up. He's going to be a fun post game interview as he gets more comfortable. I can really tell. But yeah, I mean, this was. I think if you look at both of the kids, when you're talking about the kids that just came over, ASP and MBN, this was their best games as a Griffin so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this was MBN's best game. I don't know too much on ASP side. Just I felt like MBN was very noticeable tonight compared to ASP. I know ASP got a couple shots off throughout the game. There was still some hesitancy I felt throughout, though, with him.
I think it's just that adjustment to the space. Like, you can tell when he's walking the line back there, he wants to make these moves, but he knows he can't go make those moves he's used to making. So again, it's still an adjustment for both of them. Such a small sample size for both, but I did like both of their games tonight. And I think you have to talk about the headline when you're talking about, the lineup tonight, the one that grabbed everybody's attention. Sebastian Cossa riding the bench in this game. Jack Campbell getting the start. I think that raised a lot of eyebrows around the Red Wings fandom here.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if we had talked earlier about it, but I thought they were going to go Cossa again tonight. And if they lost, they were going to go Jack the rest of the series if it made more than game 3. So for them to go Jack early in this game, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was weird. It was weird. I know he's played better against Dallas or Texas, and I know he's typically better in Texas as well. He's more comfortable there.
Well, I mean, he was with that organization for a while. Won a Calder Cup with them, but you kind of look at it, are they revenge games? Because we know that didn't end necessarily that well for him there. But at the same time, like the decision, I don't hate the decision. Look, I mean, everyone knows Kossa's got to play big games in the playoffs, and he's got to play well, right? Yzerman said it in his presser. He wants to see Cossa have big games in the playoffs. He came into that first game, and it was not a good game. I wouldn't put all 4 of those goals on him like we talked about last recap of that game. But at the same time, Jack came in and was really good. And now you had Jack come in and kind of give the same performance. 2 that you want to get back, 2 that, not much you could do about them. It makes the decision for game 3, I think, kind of obvious. But I want to hear your thoughts on it, what you think they should do for game 3.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I think they're doing something very weird because they're putting the prospects, I don't feel like this lineup is completely Waddy's decisions on some of these guys or where they play and where they're put in sometimes. And
Yeah, I
that could be
disagree with that.
I could be completely off. But to see like some of these guys come in and then like last year we saw Nate play in the playoffs. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And there he was, like third or fourth line last year. Um, but then you see Nygard down at the bottom this year. So it's like he's kind of balancing it out. I mean, I know Yzerman wants Cossa to play the games because he needs the experience, he needs the development, but at the same point, like they need to win so they can play games so that there's development. Like it's a double-edged sword here. So I my guess is they go with Jack for game 3.
See, I think the opposite. I think they go Coast in game 3 because you saw both. Both gave you pretty much the same result in the end. It comes down to one, they both have to be better, but the team in front of them has to be substantially better. And I think coaches realize now, okay, it wasn't Cossa, it wasn't Jack, it's the team. And then he's got to make the adjustments in front of the goalies to get the result he's looking for. And I don't think either goalie is going to give you a different result as it stands right now. And you're talking a guy that needs to play big games. Well, every game here in Texas is an elimination game. You're going to have to go Cossa. And you also got to remember that game 3 is Friday and game 4 is Saturday. It's the first back-to-back these guys have played in a while. Could they split the series? I don't know. There's a potential for that too. Dan Watson is not afraid to go split goalies in the playoffs. He did it a lot in Toledo. It's still something that's carried forward in Toledo with the walleye. So I could see them doing something like that too. But it all comes down to the guys in front of these goalies have to play better. And that's where I want to pivot to Sheldon Dries' comments after the game, where it was talked a lot about mental lapses being made. And, that's kind of what's leading to these mistakes overall.
Well, okay, let me throw this scenario at you. Because game 1 we were down 4-0, I believe, and they pulled Coast.
Correct.
Put Campbell in, saved all 11 shots that he had. If they go down, and then tonight we're down 4-0, and then they don't pull Jack tonight, do you think if it comes to that situation that they pull with the back-to-back, or you think he just lets them stay in?
I hope we don't see that same scenario. Like you can't hope and you can't make a game plan off the scenario you're going to go down 4-0. You can't let Texas take a 4-0 lead. That's the key. Obviously, you don't want to ever let a team take a 4-0 lead. But at the same time, that whole move there of not pulling Jack tonight after it goes down 4-0, you did that with Coase. I think you look at that first game where you go, okay, yeah, he came in and made all 11 saves, but even coach said after game 1, Texas kind of played back. They didn't bring their full effort as soon as they went up 4-0. That's where he corrected. I don't remember who asked the question about, ASP saying that he had a better third period in that game. Well, it was kind of fool's gold because Texas also didn't bring their best game in the third period of that game, being up 4-0, and we still couldn't convert against it.
They outshot Grand Rapids 10-3 in the third.
In which game?
This game tonight.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. So Texas didn't play the style of playing on their heels because we scored 2 against them. They couldn't play that. The offense produced something. So that comparison between those two situations, it's kind of invalid because of the scenario that Texas brought to the table.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play on their heels tonight. They brought their full effort for a full 60. As Texas, soon as because we got one of those goals in the second, so they weren't down 4-0 going into the third, so they had to, they weren't up 4-0 in the third, I should say. So they had to play it with a little bit more effort. So to circle back to the original question, I do believe that coach goes with Sebastian Cossa in this next one, and they just really got to work on the adjustments in front of them to reference again to reference Sheldon Dries. I've gotten those two mixed up all season long. In his comments of saying, there's a mental lapses, when they're tired, they're not thinking with their head and they're making poor decisions. And that's really obvious when you look at their play style. These turnovers have been killing us. Like, how many goals did we look at tonight where there was a turnover or bad clearing attempt or just bad neutral zone play again coming from a turnover? You can't give Texas free pucks, and that's what they're doing.
I mean, if you do it, it's just going to end up in the back of the net, and we've seen this, what, 12 times now? Like,
Yeah.
that's the amount of goals that they've scored on us. I think in these 3 games, what is it mentally? Like, coach said this a couple weeks ago after post game is we're a mentally fragile team.
That
Where
was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah.
all season it's been like we heard it from Austin Watson, and then midway through the season, we're just not playing a full 60 minutes. We've got to play a full 60. Every single post game we hear, we got to play full 60. We got to focus. We got to not turn it over. It's a mental game. Like, does this team need a sports psychologist at this point? What does this team need to be able to be mentally strong, right? And like, it's also coming from Todd. Todd said this about the Red Wings, right?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, yeah. Todd used those same words when he mentioned the locker room when he got to Detroit, and that's a concern if you're hearing that up and down the organization.
Where did it come from? I think these guys need to just like go out and like have some fun in Texas, just blow some smoke, get something out of their system. There's something in there.
Is it the difference between like a team with mostly veterans and such than a team right now like we have with such a youth infusion between both Detroit and Grand Rapids? Like, there's so much youth on both of these teams, and they all haven't experienced a lot of this. And I wonder if that kind of plays into it, where they haven't, learned how to mentally deal with that stuff yet. And this, it's a sensitive topic to talk about something like this. You're talking about the mental health of your players, right? And that's not ever something to take lightly, but it can affect the game. And you just got to, it's all going to be a learning experience. Like, that's why it's so key for these young players to be playing in these big, important games, to learn how they can overcome these obstacles and continue to overcome them in their future. That's why the development of these players is so, so important. And, to say that they're fragile or whatever, it's just kind of a thing where, as MBN said countless times, they're just kind of going to go out and play hockey. That's what they've got to do. They've just got to buck up and go play hockey. And that's a tall order if you're, battling through some stuff with this mentally. It's a tough ask, but at the same time, they're professionals and that's their job to go figure that out. And I didn't sense that there wasn't a disbelief that they can go down to Texas and win game 3. It seemed like all the guys we spoke to after the game tonight had a pretty solid belief that they could go down there and do that, because that's all they care about, is winning that next game. And that's the right mentality to have behind it. I'm glad, a lot of questions were asked about, go down there and reverse sweep them, because that's what they have to do to move on. But at the same time, it's a lot of focus on that next game and that next game mentality. And that's been kind of the thing throughout this organization for a lot of the season. And hopefully they truly mean it when they're saying that.
It was funny that that's what all the players were saying, and then Waddy goes, "We need to just focus on practice." Like,
Well, he said both, really. He's focused on that game, but it starts with practice.
It starts with practice, and everybody's looking forward to the game. And I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome."
And he's talking about practice.
Yeah.
Anyways, but practice is going to be really huge for these guys. You have to somehow replicate in practice the same intensity that Texas brings to the table. And that's a tall order, because let's be real, this Texas roster is very good. They are very quick. They play with a lot of intensity, and they've got some forwards that can really fire the puck. Not saying that we don't, but when you're trying to get there and replicate that in practice, that is a tough task. And I don't envy anyone who's got to set that up. But at the same time, they're going to have some tough practices this week and be ready with travel and play a back-to-back after there's been a 6-day break between game 1 and game 2. You're going to get back-to-back between game 3 and 4.
It's so crazy. I literally thought the schedule was like Wednesday or Thursday.
You would hope, right?
They had a day of travel, then they play a game, and then they had another game either Friday and Saturday. Like, it is what it is. The billing availability is what it is, and that's what Sheldon had said. And I honestly, like, I was super impressed with his post game. Like, I
thought it was great.
I feel like we've requested him before, and he just never talked that well spoken or like gave us that much information throughout.
Which is exactly what you want to hear from a leader
Yeah.
on this team
Oh.
after a game or two games like this. So I did like his post game, and I didn't sense that the team in that room doesn't believe that they can go down there and win game 3. I think they all believe that they can truly do that. The Griffins historically in the regular season were a better team on the road too. So I think, they've got that little extra confidence boost there too. It's all going to come down to the game. We're either recording a last game of the season recap after Friday, or we're talking Friday night about game 3 and on to game 4 the next night. Like that's what this is going to come down to. Before we get any deeper here, I just want to hit a quick ad break. Then when we come back, we'll dive into the rest of the topics and, of course, give you an update on the Calder Cup playoffs from around the AHL too, since it's been 5 days since we've updated y'all.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. And games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And welcome back. All right, I want to hit on what I think might be the storyline of this whole series so far. Maybe it's too early to say this, but it also kind of feels like it's blatantly obvious. And Nick's looking at me confused because I didn't prep him for this at all. There's no prep ever in these post-game episodes. We get home from the game and sit down in front of these computers and talk to all you wonderful people. But the storyline that I'm noticing, and it was kind of the talk of press row tonight, is the Texas Stars have kind of exposed this young decor that the Griffins are using right now. It is a lot of young defensemen, a lot of them going through their first AHL playoffs or some even first pro playoffs. I mean, you got the SHL playoffs over there too, obviously, but the first North American pro playoffs. And it feels like Texas has kind of really exposed him.
I'd have to argue the fact
that's what this is all about. So
Vollinder played in the playoffs last year against Rockford and Milwaukee. Sandin Pellikka has played in the playoffs in the SHL. William played in the playoffs and won a championship in Denver. Johansson, I don't know his playoff experience. Vero played in the playoffs. Did he play in the playoffs last year? He was with the Griffins in the playoffs last year. I don't know if he actually played. And then 2-0 was here last year and played for Denver in the playoffs and won a championship.
I'm not counting the ones that played in college. Like I said, North American pro playoffs. So 2-0s and Booyams don't. No, the AHL playoff intensity is different. Everybody knows it. I just feel like the youngness of this decor has kind of been exposed. Look, like we can't get out of the zone. We can't get through the neutral zone. And Texas, when they're getting near our guys, they're out skating and getting around them quite a bit. Like, I don't like to call people out in this show necessarily, but like Booyam, I'm watching him get walked a couple too many times in these playoffs. Vollinder, clearing attempts have been, yeah. ASP, it's too early to tell still for me. Vero, you know my thoughts on Vero if you've listened to the show long enough, and I made it pretty clear on that second Texas goal there with that piss poor clearing attempt that we got from him there. Tuomisto, I was happy to see him return to the lineup tonight. I think he brings some intensity on the blue line that when you remove guys like the captain, Josiah Didier, with his veteran experience and his intensity back there, you kind of needed. Granted, he did end up taking a penalty early in the game, but ended up getting the other guy to retaliate, so it went 4-on-4. So that was kind of a positive there, even though Texas scored on that 4-on-4. But Tuomisto, overall, though, I liked his game tonight. I just like the intensity that he brings to the playoffs. He doesn't take any crap and dishes it right back, which is good. I don't know, man. It just feels like a lot to put on these kids to go out there and shut down this Texas team. But at the same time, you know, you look at the lineup Friday and Dids was in. I believe Rafferty was in too. And, you know, there's one defenseman that I'm still kind of banging the table for to get back in the lineup in these playoffs. And that's Nikolai Kanishov. I mean, you traded for him and acquired him at the deadline, and he hasn't touched the ice once in these playoffs. I think that's a big mistake. He's a fast, quick, puck-moving defenseman that knows how to get out of the zone, and it can also really keep up with a fast forward trying to get around him. He does not get burned very often. I think I've seen him burned one time so far as a Griffin, and he hasn't touched the ice yet. Is he battling injury? He wasn't. They didn't mention that in the post game. In game one, we didn't ask for an injury update tonight. It's on us to screw that up and not ask, because Hunter obviously was not in the lineup again tonight too. But this Texas team is kind of having their way with the Grand Rapids decor right now.
You know what's funny is the beginning of the season, I said, what is the one concern that I have on this team? And I said defense. And you guys all looked at me crazy. And I'm like, well,
because even goals against wise defensively, this team was solid. And we kind of told you, you know, then, yes, the defense on paper might be worse than last season. Obviously, you're losing guys like Simon Edvinsson and Albert Johansson to Detroit. But at the same time, overall, the team was better defensively with more defensive responsible forwards in this lineup this year than I would say last year. But the defense as itself is kind of what I'm talking about here specifically, just saying that we're not getting out of our zone. Obviously not getting through the neutral zone, and that's a full team problem. But it starts with the guy in the back moving the puck out, especially on those plays where the defenseman sits behind the net and resets and comes out, and they still can't get through. I don't know, man. I think this is just my whole take of saying Kanishov needs to be back in the lineup for game 3.
I'll agree with you that he needs to be back in the lineup, because I thought he was a faster defenseman, and he is more he plays more calm game, if that makes sense. So
yeah, anytime it got hectic, he was there,
like,
at a chill level. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think he does need to be in there. It's odd that we've gone the entire season with Tuo and Vollinder on the top line, and then the last like 2, maybe 3 regular games, and then these playoffs, Tuo's been at the bottom or out. So
yeah, I don't know what happened there.
That is cause for concern for me, but then also, like, you're gonna put Sandin Pellikka at the top. Like, I understand that pairing, and the Bouillon and Johansson pairing makes sense as well. Bouillon needs the development, he needs the time, he needs the experience. This is his first season, but he has hit the wall. Like, he's hit the rookie wall this season. It's been a lot of games. I think college, they don't play that many games. It's so weird because juniors, they play like 82 games, and then college is like 35. And then you come here and you play like 72, 84, 79.
72 in the regular season.
Yeah, it's such weird levels. But anyways, I don't think it's the defense is the problem.
That's a bold statement.
I really don't. I think it's the forwards. I don't think we have, because if you can't get the puck out and they're carrying it up, I think the forwards are just in the wrong positions. Like, they're not in the right spots on the ice. Like, we watched Toledo on Saturday, and they had a guy at the blue line all the time on the opposite side of the ice, ready to go in. They were like sprinting to get into the offensive zone. I'm just like, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
That's a terrible game for reference, though, because they got hemmed in. They played just like Grand Rapids in that game, and the same result happened.
No, I don't think they played just like Grand Rapids. I think they played a lot better than Grand Rapids.
Or I wish Travis was a part of these recordings after the Griffins games. He'd be like, yeah, Nick, they did. Duh. No, I'm kidding.
I've just never seen a team go like, I've never seen our team, the Griffins here, get into the offensive zone so fast after getting the puck. Like, they make it a point. As soon as they have the puck, Toledo, they're in the offensive zone within seconds. Where we're just kind of trying to get in, and we're always stopped. And it's just like a battle of trying to get out of this like mushy middle.
Well, it's because that example you're using, they're good at getting out of their defensive zone, and then they're winning battles in the neutral zone. and moving quickly. We can't even get out of our own defensive zone. Like, it's bad. We can't move the puck out of our own zone. We get it to the blue line, and it somehow ends up going back the other way. Whether it's a weird stick getting in the way, a body blocking a pass, or whatever. Texas's anticipation of what the defense is trying to do to move the puck out has been top tier. And we haven't figured out a way to overcome it yet. And it's a lot of repetitive doings of the same mistakes. And, the guys that I listed that I'd hope to see more from, I'm just seeing the same thing over and over again. The only guy I didn't list out of the ones that, played tonight was Anton Johansson. And I think Anton continues to develop very strongly and have really good games. When Johansson's good, he's really good. When Johansson's bad, it's really bad. There's kind of a not in between. But that's expected. He's played so few games in this league. To even have a really good upside is still better than expected, I believe. But the rest of the guys just got to pick up the pace. And I've said it already, and I'm banging the table for it. You got to pull Vero out. You got to put Kanishov in on the left side there. You really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with Vero. I don't know what the plan is here. It's mind-boggling to me.
It really is. It's frustrating, man. It really is it's just frustrating overall. You look at this roster and you go, man, they shouldn't be in this position right now, but unfortunately they are. I do want to kind of silence the haters around one specific topic with this Griffins team, and I'm sure I'll catch some hate in the comments for it. It's not a Dan Watson problem. Coach Watson's not going anywhere. I mean, you look at what he did since he's come to this team. They're in the playoffs both years he's been a coach so far. He's working with one of the youngest rosters in a league where the young is not the recipe for success in most of the time. And he's done an overall good job with the team. I still have my issues on the offensive side of the coaching. Obviously, we've talked about that all season long, and who knows what'll happen there. I just want to see more, especially when you talk about the Griffins power play. I know we saw questions about that tonight, and I was kind of in my head going, oh, it's your first time watching Griffins coverage if you're just asking about the power play tonight, and they converted tonight. Like, it's been a problem for 2 years straight now. But I see a lot of talk about, like, is Dan Watson's seat getting warm? And I think that a lot of that comes from Todd McClellan coming in, and him, Dan Watson's not his guy. It's not like he picked the player or the coach for Grand Rapids. And I don't necessarily say Derek Lalonde picked the coach for Grand Rapids either, even though there is a good relationship between Dan Watson and Derek Lalonde. I think you got to look at what Dan's done overall with this team. And you say he's done a good job, and I don't think the seat's anywhere close to warm. Now, let's say a repeat performance next year, maybe even a worse regular season, because you still, you avoided the play-in round. You finished third in your division. You're playing important games, but you kept them out of that best of three. You did the important step there, and now it's kind of on the players to carry it forward, obviously with the coach, coaching them on what to do in the playoffs. But at the same time, he's done his job. So I just wanted to silence that, because I've seen a lot of that through our social media pages and everything, everyone wondering if Waddy's the problem. And I can assure you, Waddy's not the problem.
I think what he's had to do with this team, like I think we joked about it off air, is that it's like we've both been managers before, and it's like, hey, we're short staffed, and it's just carry the water and try to get through it, And I think that's kind of what he's had to do this year, is being picked apart from Detroit, which it happens. It happens to every AHL team. Their affiliate will grab players. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what's going to happen, right? You got to battle through it. And the season didn't go the way we all expected based off of the talent that we had and the signings that we did sign. It was a really tough season and a very confusing one based off of why there's such a disconnect with this team. Because there really is. They've been disconnected all year. I don't think they ever had that Texas moment like they did last year, where the team came together off the ice, and then on the ice they just gelled really well. And that's why you see a lot of line shuffles, a lot of line changes, a lot of weird combos of people every other game kind of thing. And we've had a little bit of injury bug, right? Like we had
Oh yeah,
Lombardi was out, Mazer was out.
some big injuries this year.
I'm trying to remember who else was out. I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Those are the two biggest ones. I mean, you lost Ammo for about half the season. You lost Mazer for pretty much the entire season. It was those are two big pieces to have injured there. Nate Danielson's been battling a facial injury for a lot of the season too. He wore a bubble for a good amount of time. I don't think he missed any games. If he did, it was only one. And
Becker was
every
out.
guy's been banged up throughout this season. But the Mazer one is huge, especially when you look at the second Mazer injury. You lose him to Detroit at that point in time. He gets injured in Detroit, and then you followed it up with losing another guy because of that injury. That was just an avalanche effect of suck right there. That just is not the situation you want to see as a coach. So I think he's done a good job. I will say that.
I think too, like I think it'll be his decision if he wants to move on from the organization or not. I think it'll come to that.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I would say it's up to him. I don't think it's going to ever be a decision by the organization to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think if he wants to be closer to family, or I keep thinking that's playing a big role in his head. To be honest,
I think that's not correct, but
yeah,
pretty. The thing you're referencing is pretty common for coaches. We discussed this over the weekend, but
I know, but I still feel like you want to be close to family. You still want to be tight. And I don't know the dynamics, but I just feel like you'd want to be closer to where your people are, right?
Part of the life as a hockey coach or player, man. It's just part of the life, and I think that's just reading too far into it. If I'm being honest, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I just feel like that's not the direction of the conversation on that specific piece.
I think it's interesting too. Like as soon as Lalone was let go by the Red Wings, it's like this team just fell off a cliff as well.
Well, I mean, we look at it though, like we talked about, guys getting called up or sent back and whatever. There wasn't a lot of those call ups that would just get called up to be an extra in the Lalone era. And there's been a lot of those in the McClellan era. And that's something I think we'll unpack in the offseason kind of more detailed. But at the same time, like you saw a lot more of that after Todd took over, where they were calling guys up from Grand Rapids and they weren't even playing. They were just sitting, they were an extra. And, yes, Shine and Watson got into games. Obviously, Mazer got into a game, but there was other call-ups that happened. I mean, I remember Rafferty getting called up on a big weekend for us, and let's not joke about it. At that point in time, we didn't have a full roster almost. Like, there was nights that the Griffins were playing the lines and the players they had because that's all they had. There was zero extras because of call-ups or injury. So that'll be a good chunk of an off-season talk for sure, just kind of the difference in that dynamic and what the preparedness level will look like from the Griffins when it goes into that.
Well, you bring up a good point there, though, is to call back to what you said earlier was this is a young defensive team, right? And what you have sitting out tonight was Didier, you had Brogan Rafferty, and then we haven't had Lagesson since December.
Well, we can't have Lagesson either. Thanks, Detroit.
Correct.
That would be a really nice piece to have in this physical fast series against Texas, wouldn't it? Man, and you also in Knyshov, that's 4 veteran defensemen you're missing in this game.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where they even like slot in on this like crazy amount of defensemen that we have.
It's actually insane. When you look at it and peel it back and have to make those decisions. And again, that's why I'm not a coach and I don't have to make those decisions, and I don't envy them for having to make those decisions. But I do want to kind of wrap up this game here before this post-game recap quick hit episode turns into a full hour and 30 show. When I posted on our Twitter page the 4th Texas goal, that's where I made the decision. Recording tonight, 1 take recording. We're sending it. But I asked if there was questions. Now, some of the questions that got dropped below in the comments we've already kind of answered. Randy Zick hit us with the what's up with the power play? How can the Griffins rebound after this abysmal performance? And then the next question after that was, I'll go with the optimistic perspective. How can the Griffins pull off a miracle in Texas? So I kind of want to wrap that into one question answer here for the folks. Power play, hey, it converted tonight. But yeah, the power play's got to be better. overall. It's got to be better. Texas's penalty kill has done a fantastic job, as we've already hit on in this episode. What do they have to do to be better? It's got to be quick decision making with the puck, and it's got to stop. Like, the hesitation with the puck has to stop. When you get the puck in the slot on the power play and you're a forward down there in deep, don't turn and look at the blue line looking for your pass. Just rip it at the net. Like, when Poirier gets rattled, you can get around him and chances happen. As soon as he's rattled, we get chances. And then you also got to kind of count on puck luck when those happen too. But without traffic in front and causing a little bit of chaos, just turn and shoot the puck. Stop hesitating. There was even a moment tonight where I think it was Snively was skating up the ice with the puck. Danielson was wide open across ice, and there was a lane to make that pass, and he was streaking. He had speed. He was ready to go, and Snively didn't even pick his head up to look for it. He looked back for the drop pass out of the zone. I'm like, come on. You had one of your best players streaking up ice. He would have had Texas's D burned on that play, and we looked for a different pass. We looked behind us for a pass. You got to have that mentality. Look forward, man. Look in front. Throw it at the net. See what's going to happen.
Do you think they're playing that way because it's just north-south is what we've been continually hearing in the postgame, is playing north-south hockey instead of east-west?
I don't know, man. I don't have the answer for that, unfortunately. I just think there's too much hesitation with the puck, where I think it plays into that mental battle that you're going through out there and making mistakes because you're overthinking that move. Puck lands on the stick. Just rip it. Like, look at our defenseman even. You know, we talked about what we saw from ASP in the first couple games in the regular season there from him. And you get in the playoffs, and there's a lot of hesitation with the puck at the blue line. He would get the puck at the blue line in those last couple regular season games and just rip it. Anton, same thing. Tuomisto, same thing. Get the puck and rip it. These playoffs, they get the puck and they're looking around for that pass instead of just throwing it on net.
Yeah, because like tonight, ASP only had one shot on net, which was
I think he had, 4 or 5 in his first game?
4. So it's
And I'd have to pull the stat sheet from game 1, but I think he only had 1, maybe 2 in that one.
So they're doing a good job of shutting him down.
I wouldn't say they're doing a good job of shutting him down. They're just not shooting the puck.
Why?
Whatever play style they're practicing right now in these practices, thinking that's what's going to, outdo whatever video review they've done about Texas, it's not working. Just honestly, what they've learned in the 2 weeks of practice, erase the board and go back to the way you were playing the last 2 weeks of the season, because you were just shooting. You can't score if you don't shoot.
Well, there has been cases where they I will not bring up those clips, but yeah, they do need to just. That's why I was frustrated with this game, because it was just a copy paste of last game. It literally was. I know there's 2 more goals.
It was a copy paste with a couple goals.
Yeah, to me, I'm like tuned out. It's the same product I've been watching for the last 6 months. It's not exciting. It's been the same. We continue to lose. It's just this is what they need to do. They need to win 3 straight games, right?
Yep.
The last time they did it, they could do this.
Okay.
They did this March 12th, 2-1 against Hartford, coming off a 4-5 loss to Chicago. They beat Hartford 2-1. They then beat Milwaukee 3-2, and then they beat Rockford 3-1. We need that team back. And right before Chicago, they had a win 3-2. It was overtime. So it was 4 wins in 5 games in March. This team can do it. They can do it against good teams. They just got to figure it out. Like, I don't know what it is. This is driving me nuts.
I mean, to ask what kind of miracle do they need to pull off, let's just be honest. They need to play fucking hockey.
They need to play fucking hockey.
They need to go in and play hockey and pull off that miracle. And it's been done before in the AHL. Like, this isn't something that's not possible. Like, the reverse sweep is something that's happened multiple times. It can be done, but it is a freaking challenge, and you got to do it all in the other team's barn, which luckily in the regular season, Texas was not good at home, just like kind of we are. So maybe luck's on our side there. We're going to need a little bit of puck luck. You're going to need some gritty goals. You're just going to need to go play the game, though, and they're not playing hockey right now. And every single guy post-game that we talked to said they're not playing hockey right now. Every single one.
They need to play hockey.
They need to play hockey. So hopefully, next episode that you hear us talking about the Griffins, we're talking about a Game 3 win. As we said before, Game 3 is Friday in Texas. Follow along in the social pages for coverage there. Of course, we're going to be having highlights there. Maybe we'll do a live or something for that game too. Who knows? We'll talk about it this week as a group and see maybe one or two of those games we do something. But hopefully next time you hear us, the attitude's a little more positive when we're talking about a good result here, and just hope the Griffins go down there and do the darn thing. Again, just like the guys, I'm a homer. I'm a fan of this team. I've been a fan of this team ever since the team was created. So in the back of my mind, I'm always pulling for them, hoping they can go do the thing. And the excitement level, if they go do the darn thing, is going to be through the roof. And based on how some other series are looking, the next round could be really interesting. And I want to be a part of that. So I want to provide an update on the current playoff results around the league here for everybody else. And it's kind of weird because as we've talked about scheduling before with the AHL playoffs, it's all over the place. There's already one of the division semifinals done. Rochester Americans moved on to the North Division Finals after they swept Syracuse in their series 3-0. In the North Division, Laval is up 2-1 on the Cleveland Monsters. They play tomorrow, which would be Tuesday the 7th as of recording this. The Charlotte Checkers are up 2-0 on the Providence Bruins. The shocking one is Lehigh Valley up 2-1 on the Hershey Bears. Is Hershey going to be eliminated in the division semis this year? There's a chance. It's actually crazy to even say that. Finally.
That is crazy. As I was looking at Lehigh's stats in there, I was like, dang, they're doing pretty good. I'm like, I don't know who they're playing. They're playing Hershey.
They're playing Hershey, and they've played them in a pretty dominant fashion in those 2 wins, too. You flip over to some of these other ones, though. Obviously, the Griffins down 2-0 to the Texas Stars. The Pacific Division semifinals, Colorado and San Jose tied 1-1. San Jose evened the series last night. In the other one, the other Central Division semifinal, it's one we'll talk about a little more in depth, obviously, is Rockford up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Admirals. They are 1 game away from advancing to the Central Division Finals. And to say that it hasn't been wild, it has. Game 1, Milwaukee had a 2-0 lead that Chicago came back, tied it, went to overtime, and won in the first 9 seconds of overtime. You go to Game 2, and Rockford dominated Milwaukee 6-1. I don't know what's going on in Milwaukee. We kind of had them as one of the cup favorites if, we weren't being a homer here and saying the Griffins were going to go win it. And Milwaukee finds themselves down in the same boat as the Griffins. And when I talk about reverse sweeps, Milwaukee is one of the more recent teams to go and do that. So it'll be a very interesting series to watch. But, when you think about possibly moving on in the Central Division Finals and potentially playing Rockford, it gives us a headache after playing them 12 times in the regular season. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind it. You know what I mean? Of course, I wouldn't mind being there, but I also wouldn't mind playing them. But they also have turned out to be sneaky good. And maybe I should mind playing them. I don't know.
Yeah, I got 2 things on this. So the first one, let me back up a little bit. The Lehigh Valley series, they've been shorthanded 25 times with a penalty kill of 92%.
That's insane.
And I'm like, okay, is there just a lot of fights in this series? Hershey's only been penalized or time shorthanded 11 times.
And mind you, Hershey won game 1 3-0, and then Lehigh won game 2 3-1, and then game 3 4-2. So they went from scoring no goals in game 1 to all of a sudden, here they are.
I might have to watch this series a little bit. But to your point for Rockford, Milwaukee, I'm wondering, because Rockford had to do the play-in series against Chicago. I'm wondering if we should have tried to let Rockford pass us and we play Chicago for the play-in series to keep some momentum, to get our stuff figured out game style instead of having time to practice.
It would be a fun off-season question for coach. Like, all right, would you have rather have played that series now looking back on it or not? because Chicago forgot how to Chicago in the playoffs there. Let's be real. I mean, Rockford had their way with them pretty easily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, would those games being played have been better than a break?
Because you get the momentum, you get the wins, you get the game time experience. Nothing's going to beat that, right? And we did that. We were in the play-in series last year.
We were, and that one went all 3 games, if I
3?
remember correctly.
Yeah. It went 3, and then we went to Rockford. I think it went 4. 4 or 5
Should
in
we have
Rockford last
played the
year.
play-in? After all that dread about the play-in during the regular season, and now we're saying this, we just sound like morons, which we usually do anyways. I don't know why you listen to us half the time, but
I don't. So yeah, I'm wondering if we would have been able to avoid Rockford in the play-in and play Chicago, and then that would have set us up against Milwaukee, which was probably a better matchup for us than it is for us than Dallas. Interesting.
I don't know what it would have taken to have Rockford pass us. It would have been a bigger fall off than what we had, because even with the last couple weeks there, last week and a half, I think it was, Rockford was kind of guaranteed that 5th spot.
Yeah.
It would have basically been allowing Chicago to pass us, and Chicago start off their playoff series against Texas, which probably would have been kind of the same result as we're seeing right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to play Rockford or not, man. Rockford's good and they're fully loaded. And when you're talking about playing a team a lot and knowing the team's tendencies, boy, do they know ours. And we know what a hot Drew Comesso can do to another team. And he can shut him down pretty quick in that. So I don't know. Because like when I look at this Griffins Texas series, I don't think Poirier's been outstanding. I don't think he's had a lot of high danger chances against him. I mean, he's had a lot of puck luck on his side too, where these bounces and these scrambles in front of the crease just end up flying in the air or going out both sides and nowhere near him. So I don't know if it's necessarily he's been good, but Comesso can be really good. And like you're talking a NHL caliber goaltender there, probably within the next year. That's
I'd rather
not
take
what I want to
Milwaukee.
face.
I mean, but I'd rather take Milwaukee.
I just like that rivalry too. And I'm sick
Yeah.
of playing Rockford. So, well, I don't know. We might. I mean, if you look at this, you got to look at both of the 2 teams that you'd want to have play, right? You want Grand Rapids and Milwaukee. Well, both teams need to go do the reverse sweep. Both in the same position. And mind you, Milwaukee won the regular season Central Division Championship. And they're down to the team that finished 5th. Playoffs are crazy, man. Anything can happen. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, is that anything can happen. The Griffins can reverse sweep Texas. I believe that they can. I know the fan base does not at this point, but I personally do. I know the guys in the room believe that they can go out there and win that next game, and they're going to take it game by game. They just got to go do it. And we just hope for the best. So
Just go play hockey.
Just go play hockey. But that's all I have for this game 2 recap. Again, I know the episode's kind of weird, right? These don't have structure. We just throw it on record and go. And like we said tonight, we're doing it in one take. And one take only, because it's also 12:21 a.m. and we have day jobs. It's just still got to be exported out so you all can listen to it tonight. So we're going to wrap this up here so we can go to bed. We'll have a more in-depth Griffins episode here probably between these games. If not, obviously we'll have a series recap and not just do game recaps. We'll have a full series recap for you guys at some point. But we have to be able to put out these post-game recordings. These are fun for us as much as we say, we have day jobs and it's getting late. We do enjoy doing these. So stay tuned for those. And of course, if you're looking for the Toledo Walleye updates, we'll have a Toledo Walleye episode as well, as they've now wrapped up games 1, 2, and 3. And probably by the time I'm done getting all this stuff out, we'll probably have game 4 done too. So we'll have an update for them in the Central Division Finals against Fort Wayne. It's not going well. Spoiler alert. But anyways, we'll have that update too, so stay tuned for that episode. Before we end the episode, though, we got to thank our sponsors, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. Make sure when you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN, and when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, you're using code WEST. And of course, we got to thank our Patreon subscribers of the show. Without them, the show would not be possible. And if you want to join these folks we're about to name, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast to check out the tiers. But the folks who are already supporting us are...
We've got Randy, Alan, Derek, Elaine, Griffin, John, Lori, Michael, Regan, Tyler, and Claire.
Thank you all for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. We owe you guys a Patreon exclusive episode here soon. Don't worry. It is not forgotten about by us. We just need time to do it. So it should be coming here soon. Probably talk some NHL playoffs because that first round was insane. But that's all we have for this one. Everybody have a fantastic week. And if you're looking for Griffins content, again, reminder that we'll post a game recap after game 3 on Friday, and hopefully it's a positive one. So stay tuned for that. But everybody have a great week. And as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.